Hello everyone. So this video we would be talking about Jupiter transiting over your natal planets. So Jupiter has already transited in the sign of Gemini, and this Jupiter is going to be Atichari, right? That means Jupiter is not going to be in the sign of Gemini for a really long time. It will go, I think, probably after October, mid-October. It would transit in the sign of Cancer, and then it would come back being retrograde again in the sign of Gemini, right? So, with all of these happenings, Jupiter in the sign of Gemini would not be able to give its full results as of now because it's only there for a period of time. But there would definitely be some or the other changes considering that yes, it is Jupiter, it is a big planet. So, let's talk about how Jupiter's transit would impact your natal planets. So before we start, I'll just explain what I mean by Jupiter's transit over your planets or the aspect over your natal planets. So as I said, I'll be including both of the things here, that is aspect and transit. So if let's take a quick example in case you're not familiar with the concept that I'm talking about. So if let's say you are a Gemini ascendant, right? And Jupiter has transited here over your first house. Now, if let's say by birth in your natal chart you have Sun sitting here in the sign of Gemini, right? You have Sun sitting here in the sign of Gemini in your first house in your birth chart. Now, what is happening? Jupiter is transiting over your Sun, right? So, Jupiter is transiting over your birth Sun. Or this can also mean that this would also be applicable if let's say you have Sun in your seventh house, right? So if let's say you have Sun in your seventh house and Jupiter is transiting your first house, so Jupiter aspects your natal Sun. All right, so I'll be covering both of these scenarios, that what would happen if let's say Jupiter is transiting your natal planets or it's aspecting your natal planets. Just remember that the Sun can be here in the fifth house as well, or any other planet placed in the ninth house, and Jupiter would be impacting that as well because Jupiter has three drishtis, right? Fifth drishti, seventh drishti, and the ninth drishti. So let's talk about Jupiter transiting over your planets or aspecting your birth planets. So let's talk about Jupiter transiting over your Sun or aspecting your natal Sun. Now, before we start with what is happening with Jupiter and Sun combination, just remember that Jupiter has very different aspect and different approach when it comes to transits. Okay, what do I mean by this? Jupiter जहाँ भी transit करते हैं वो चीज़ expand हो जाती है, right? But when we're talking about Jupiter's aspect, wherever Jupiter aspects, it eases those house. Okay. So if let's say Jupiter is aspecting your fifth house, that means anything that is related to your fifth house, be it children, be it your primary education, be it anything related to your stomach area, this Jupiter would be trying to ease your problems over there. Right, and you don't really have to put a lot of efforts in there क्योंकि ये Jupiter का aspect है. But when it comes to Jupiter's transit, जुपिटर हैज़ दिस अप्रोच दैट जहाँ भी वो ट्रांजिट करते हैं वहाँ पे एक पहले मेस जो है वो पहले आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं. दैट मीन्स दैट जुपिटर वुड बी सीइंग व्हाट इज रॉन्ग विद दैट हाउस एंड देन जुपिटर वुड ब्रिंग दैट अप एंड देन जुपिटर वुड रेक्टिफाई इट. Right, so wherever Jupiter transits, you have to focus on that house, you have to put efforts towards that house, right? But जहाँ पे Jupiter के aspects जाते हैं, those areas are handled on its own. You don't really have to put any performance on it. You don't really have to put any efforts into that. वो अपने आप चीज़ें वहाँ पे आपकी बनने लग जाती है जहाँ भी जुपिटर का एस्पेक्ट होता है. नाउ टू स्टार्ट विद जुपिटर ट्रांजिट ओवर योर सन, लेट्स फर्स्ट टॉक अबाउट ट्रांजिट. जब जुपिटर सन के ऊपर ट्रांजिट करते हो तो सबसे पहले तो देखिए फेम आता है, राइट? वाई डू आई टॉक अबाउट फेम? बिकॉज जुपिटर इज एक्सपेंशन. Sun is your fame, it's your career, it's your self, it's your you say ego. और आपका जो आप खुद को कहाँ देखते हैं 10 लोगों के बीच में, व्हाट डू यू फील कि आप कहाँ स्टैंड कर रहे हैं, आपका ईगो जो होता है, दैट इज़ योर सन. जब जुपिटर आते हैं सन के ऊपर तो एक्सपेंशन तो बहुत होता है, आपके ईगो में एक्सपेंशन होता है, यानी कि यू आर अचीविंग समथिंग और यू आर गेटिंग सम काइंड ऑफ फेम, right? It's some kind of proud moment that happens whenever Jupiter is transiting over your sun, right? But the problem here is कि Jupiter और Sun साथ में आके आपका ego भी बढ़ा देते हैं. So that is one thing that you need to watch out for. Along with this, you also have to see that Jupiter transiting over your Sun would definitely mean something to do with your father. So आपके father का recognition बढ़ सकता है, आपके father का status society में बढ़ सकता है. Now this can be anything, but usually it has to do with some kind of an achievement. Maybe you achieved something and now your father is proud of you, right? Or maybe your father did something and he got some recognition for it. So Sun and Jupiter is like a classic combination for fame and recognition, right? Some kind of congratulations coming your way. Okay, now it depends कौन से house में हो रहा है. If let's say this is happening in your ninth house, this should be something to do on the lines of education, could be on the lines of your higher education, or it can be related to your father, because remember ninth house is also father, right? And depends again, it depends हम कौन से house की बात कर रहे हैं. Because I took ninth house in this scenario, I'm talking about ninth house. Now this can be for any other place also. If this is your 10th house, it can be a promotion, right? It can be some kind of raise that is given to you, and उसके बाद आपको वहाँ से congratulations मिल रहा है, right? And also remember, whenever Jupiter and Sun comes into this transit, Jupiter Sun को एक तरीके से boost दे रहे हैं, because Sun is already very bright, and Jupiter and Sun being two really good friends in astrology, Jupiter wants to elevate Sun कि okay, now I am here, you need to shine brighter. So आपके ऊपर attention बहुत आने लग जाता है लोगों का, right? So you did something that you are coming in the limelight, is what Jupiter and Sun represents. However, you need to understand that this is about Jupiter transiting over Sun. If let's say Jupiter is aspecting your Sun, then this means that there would be some kind of recognition, but at the same time Jupiter would make you humble. Jupiter वहाँ पे आपका ego उतना boost नहीं करेंगे. Why? Because Jupiter is not sitting with Sun now. Jupiter is only aspecting your natal Sun, right? So some kind of good efforts, a good recognition in that place as well, but no boost of ego as such. All right. Now let's move on to Jupiter transiting over your moon. Okay, now Jupiter going over your moon or aspecting your moon. So again, Jupiter and moon is a great combination in astrology. The thing is, Jupiter and moon गज केसरी represent करते हैं, and गज केसरी एक तरीके से आपको status भी बढ़ाता है और आपके मन की संतुष्टि को भी बढ़ाता है. It makes you feel very content कि आपको कुछ हासिल हुआ और आपके मन को शांति होती है, right? But at the same time, this makes you focus towards your mother. अब आपकी मदर की हेल्थ रिलेटेड हो सकता है, इफ देयर वाज समथिंग दैट योर मदर हैड बीन नेग्लेक्टिंग. दिस इज आल्सो ट्रू फॉर योर फादर, इफ लेट्स से दिस इज हैपनिंग इन योर 9th house or 10th house. And also if this is also going to be true if it's happening with Sun. I forgot mentioning this in Sun. So आपकी मदर से रिलेटेड, when we're talking about Jupiter over moon, आपकी मदर से रिलेटेड you need to get a bit cautious, because the thing is Jupiter would make you focus towards the thing that are related to moon. So जब Jupiter transit कर रहे हैं moon की तरफ, you might be called to check on your mother's health, or this can also mean that mother would have some or the other influence on you. आपकी मम्मी कहेंगे कि आप ये करो, and आप देखेंगे कि आप वो करेंगे तो आपको वो चीज़ it would come to fruition, that thing whatever you did on your mother's request, उससे आपकी चीज़ fruitful हो गई, उससे आपका काम बन गया. तो ये सारी चीज़ें भी हैं. At the same time, this is a time period जब आप कुछ property खरीद सकते हैं, or maybe something that you wanted to happen. This can be related to your house. This can be related to anything that has to do with the status in society. वो increase हो जाता है. You can maybe get a property. Now अब देखिए property कुछ भी हो सकता है. It's not necessary that you always are talking about a big asset like car. नहीं. We can also talk about a bicycle. It's anything, depends on the the whole chart कि आपका moon कैसा placed है और क्या दृष्टि है, क्या aspects. If the Saturn is also placed over here, तो वो restrict हो जाएगी चीज़ें, right? So you have to see the whole picture over here. I am only talking about Jupiter transiting over moon. कि गज केसरी कैसे बनता है. there would be some or the other recognition that would come to you, and at the same time आपके घर में कुछ तरीके की बढ़ोतरी हो सकती है. now this can be childbirth, this can be increase in number of helpers that are coming to your house, right? so this is there कि बाहर जब लोग आपके घर को देख रहे हैं, आपको जब देख रहे हैं, तो उनको फील होता है कि अरे इसके पास तो सब है. that is what Jupiter and moon represent, right? but as I said कि मदर की हेल्थ को आपको अटेंशन देना पड़ सकता है. Okay, and at the same time your sleep cycle improves. I've also seen this whenever Jupiter is aspecting or transiting over moon. Okay, so that is there, but you can also sleep too much with a position like this. So overall this is actually a good position to have. Some of the other recognition, some fame, property coming your way, even though the time period that we have at the moment, it's going to be very less, because probably it's only 3 or 4 months जब Jupiter अभी Gemini में होंगे, because October के बाद Jupiter Cancerian में चले जाएंगे. So make the best out of this period. If you work towards something, Jupiter is ready to give you good results. All right. So yes. Also regarding this, if let's say you had something in your mind, you had a wish in your mind, and that was related to something very personal, could be related to your grandmother, could be related to something that is very close to your heart, वो भी आपको यहाँ पे मिल सकता है, right? Because Jupiter and Moon does represent emotional fulfillment. Okay, but at the same time बहुत ज़्यादा आपकी इमोशंस जो हैं वो चैनलाइज नहीं हो पाते हैं इस टाइम पे. रिमेंबर, जुपिटर transiting over your moon is expanding moon's quality, and moon is a very receptive energy. Moon does not have a lot to give. So Jupiter जब moon के ऊपर आते हैं तो वो emotions भी बढ़ा रहे हैं, तो आपके mood swings बढ़ रहे हैं, आपकी नींद बढ़ रही है. Don't just imagine that you have a lot of work to do, but at the same time Jupiter says कि no, you can go and sleep. Because why? Moon is anything that brings you comfort, sleep, food, rest, ये सारी चीज़ें भी बढ़ती है. Your appetite increases. So you have to watch out for all of these things as well. When Jupiter aspects Moon, these things would be controlled, because Jupiter's aspect is always beneficial, right? So these are the things that you need to watch out for. Now we are going towards Jupiter transiting to your next planet. Let's see now. Okay, now Jupiter is transiting over your natal Mercury. So this is a very interesting combination. Why do I say that? Because Jupiter is the guru, right? Mercury is what? It's the student. So Jupiter और Mercury एक interesting student teacher dynamic बताता है. आपके जो भी मन में चीज़ें हैं कि आपको ये भी पूरा करना है, वो भी पूरा करना है, वो interest भी करना है, Jupiter is now showing you the path that okay, I am here, I am going to help you seek whatever you want, right? So Jupiter helps you achieve things that you wanted to do regarding Mercury. This can be your education, this can be any interest or hobby that you have, right? This can be your travel plans. Jupiter इन सारी चीज़ों को materialize कर देते हैं. But the problem is this can be a very mentally stimulating combination, because your mind is always more than your mind. I'm talking about your brain. I'm talking about the logical part of your brain, not the mind that we talk about regarding Moon. I'm talking about your brain, your mental stimulation. Your mind is always active, your brain is always active. So because Mercury is a very playful planet, Mercury is a very chanchal planet, just like Moon. And as I said in Moon, that Jupiter transiting over your Moon would increase your mood swings. Jupiter transiting over your Mercury would increase your hobbies, right? It would increase your interests. The good part is Jupiter would help you achieve those. Jupiter would help you in education. Jupiter would be helping you in getting your, depends whichever house this is going into. Where if let's say this is going in the 5th house, Jupiter would be helping you get good marks, or whatever, fulfilling your education. This can be regarding your children as well. If you have children, you'll be overly involved with your children, to the level where you might actually get very mentally stimulated. Okay, so you need to take care of those aspects as well, because Jupiter is trying to control it. All right, anything that had to do with your financial records, anything that had to do with your speech, अगर वहाँ पे कोई flaws हैं, Jupiter would want to rectify those as well. So remember, if Jupiter, whenever it's transiting over a planet, it first brings out the problems that you need to focus on, because that is how Jupiter works. Jupiter is not directly jumping and blessing you, no. Jupiter would want you to focus on things that you had been neglecting first. So anything that you were neglecting regarding Mercury, if you were neglecting some kind of expenditure that you were doing, if you were neglecting your studies, Jupiter is like, okay, I am here now, we need to first work on this thing. Why? Because you had been neglecting it. So Jupiter, because remember, Jupiter's innate nature is that of a guru. So guru would not just come to your house and start blessing you, no. Jupiter, being a guru, would first of all come to your house or come to your room, your class, whatever, and he would point out the mistakes that you've been doing, and then he would want you to rectify. Of course, that guru would also help you rectify, and this is what Jupiter is, right? So Jupiter wants you to improve, that you have to remember. But in general, this is a really good time for people who are into business. Even for Moon and Jupiter, gosh, I again forgot adding that in Moon and Jupiter. You have to remember that it is a really good time for business. People who are into business, even for Mercury and Jupiter, this is a great time for business, trading. Anyone who is into educational field, any counseling that you do, all of these things are going to be blossoming. because Jupiter is giving Mercury that strength that it lacked all this while. Okay, so this is a great time for students as well, counselors, you know. So that is going to be there, but just beware of going into many different fields all at once, because that might happen that you have 10 different interests and you want to cover all of these interests together. So you need to take care of that, take care of the mental stimulation, right? Anything that had to do with your siblings as well, that can also be your focus. Maybe you need to focus on your siblings, so maybe something happens that makes you focus towards your siblings, right? So all of these things that you need to be careful about. Now Jupiter is transiting over your Saturn. Now this is a very interesting position. Why? Because Saturn is already a guru. Okay, Saturn and Jupiter both are teachers, both are gurus. So these are two gurus coming together, so there might be a little bit of clash initially. Okay, so wherever this is placed in your 10th house, this is placed in your 7th house, wherever it is, वहाँ पे पहले कुछ clash होगा, right? You can expect something to, it's like when a building is being made, you first of all break something and then you start afresh, right? So this can be a dynamic over here, that you might have to leave something behind to start something fresh. Okay, with Jupiter transiting over your natal Saturn. Okay, but at the same time, Jupiter marks the end of struggle period, because Jupiter is now here with Saturn. So it does help you achieve a milestone, because both of these planets are very heavy. Jupiter is the heavy one. Again, Saturn is also a very heavy planet. So whenever Jupiter is transiting over your Saturn, it eases the pain as well, and it gives some or the other milestone. Now this milestone can be anything, right? Depends on the age that you are at. Because remember, if you're a child watching, okay, I wouldn't say a child, but if let's say you're a student watching this, right? So this can be something to do with your education. Maybe you start a new education, maybe you were all this while you were preparing for some of the other competitive exams, and now you crack it. This is a classic combination of Jupiter and Saturn, right? A new phase begins. Now you're leaving that old pattern behind, wherein you woke up at 5:30, you studied all day, and now you went to like coachings and stuff. Now it's the end of that period, because now you would be in college, so different lifestyle approaches, right? So that is also something that you can expect with Jupiter and Saturn. If let's say you're an adult, you're already working somewhere, right? Now this can be something that is one step ahead. It can be related to your marriage. If you're married already, it can be related to your child, right? Childbirth. So some of the other milestone is achieved when Jupiter transits over Saturn. Along with this, big opportunities come your way. But the problem is that Jupiter and Saturn coming towards each other, it's just that there would be some of the other chaos first before any results are given, because both of these planets are very heavy and they do clash with each other, right? So you have to take care of that as well, right? If let's say this is happening in your 10th house, make sure that you are not saying anything behind the back of your bosses. Make sure that you're not doing anything that is not allowed at your workplace. Make sure that you're not violating the work ethics that you have. So all of these things you need to take care of. Okay, and I have also seen with career opportunities, this does give big opportunities, right? Big opportunities, big shifts, sudden shifts can also happen, sudden promotion, sudden transfer with Jupiter and Saturn together. Also something new can happen. Maybe there was some kind of opportunity that you were waiting for, and Jupiter going over Saturn gives you that opportunity, but the road is not easy, right? So Jupiter and Saturn does give result, gives good result, but it gives with struggle. Okay, so you have to persevere if you want to reap the good results of Jupiter going over Saturn, right? Because remember, it does signify breaking of an old structure for a new building to be constructed. Okay, so you need to leave something behind. Now Jupiter transits over your Mars. Now this is again a Guru Mangal Yoga happening for you. Okay, some landed property that you were waiting for to be purchased, right? Or some property in general, some asset in general that you wanted to purchase, you can get it during this period. If there was any land dispute going on, it can be resolved during this period. Or if you were neglecting some land disputes, that can arise during this period, just so that you can solve it and get your win. Okay, so Jupiter and Sun, sorry, Jupiter and Mars. Actually, Jupiter and Mars does, replicate the traits of Jupiter and Sun. The only difference is Mars is more on the action, and and Sun is more on fame, right? It's your ego. So when Jupiter comes with Mars, it's like you want to do everything at once, and you have that strength. You are getting very courageous. Anyone who is getting in your way, you would like slash that person down to get ahead, because that is what Jupiter and Mars is, you know. So with this combination, the good part is your courage increases. You're very determined to get your results, and actually Jupiter and Mars is a great combination to give, get good results. But the problem is you don't have to jump into things impulsively, because you will have a tendency to do so. Mars is, very fast moving planet. It is all about doing things aggressively, doing things rashly, without much contemplation, right? So if you have had those tendencies, Jupiter transiting over here, or Jupiter especially aspecting your Mars, would help you calm that down. Jupiter would actually show some mistakes of yours, that see, because of your past actions, because of your rash actions, you did this, and now you're paying the repercussions. So calm down. Okay, think before you act. So that is what happens if Jupiter is aspecting your Mars. But if Jupiter is transiting over your Mars, then Jupiter is making this Mars even stronger. Jupiter is like, expand your energy, expand your courage. You're unstoppable. That is what Jupiter makes Mars think. All right. So this is actually a good time period if, let's say, you are working towards achieving something, because you're very determined. With Jupiter and Mars, it's like you are standing here, and there's a wall in front of you, and you have a hammer in your hand. You would not stop until and unless you break that wall. That is what Jupiter is giving to Mars. It gives that courage to Mars, that you will do it. And actually, people with Jupiter and Mars, they're able to achieve things because of their determination, because of their feeling that no, they would not settle down, or they would not rest until they've achieved this thing, right? So whenever Jupiter is transiting over your Mars, yes, you would have that ability that you need to focus, you need to do things, and laziness actually steeps out of your life. So it's actually a great combination if, let's say, you are working towards something, or you have a goal in your mind, because Jupiter would not let you rest here. Jupiter is expanding your energy, but you have to take care that you don't, you're not overindulging into something. You're like, you can't really, work all the time. You have to take rest. So you have to take care of that, because this combination is very much like a trainer. A trainer who wakes up at 5:30 in the morning, or 5 in the morning, he runs, and then he eats a very healthy breakfast. There is no, there's no scope for deviation. It's like they're very fixated with their routine, they're very strict with their routine. That is what happens when Jupiter is coming with your Mars. But at the same time, this increases your temper, this increases your frustration as well at times, because you're wanting results very early. You're always like constantly complaining or constantly nitpicking that why is this happening, why is that happening. So Jupiter wants you to calm down, right? If it's aspecting, then actually that's really even better, because Jupiter helps you get over those problems. But when Jupiter is there with Mars, and it's expanding the qualities of Mars, and Mars has both dual qualities, it has some negative qualities and it has some positive qualities. So remember that when Jupiter is there with Mars, beware, don't rash drive, don't just be aggressive, or like engage into any road rage or anything impulsively, because you have different ideas and you want to work towards each and everything at the same time, right? So you need to take care of your anger, you need to take care of your energy levels, because it's going to be very high. So make sure that you're resting. But with this overall, yes, it would give you good results. Great time period for people like students, and even anyone who's into fitness field. Really good time for this. You actually might actually, yeah, with this position you might end up getting some kind of fame as well, if your um, profession requires a lot of physical activity. So anything that has to do with sports, anything that has to do with you being physically active, this is a great time period for you. Okay, hitting the gym, getting your body back in shape, all of these things, very important with Jupiter transiting over your Mars, right? So channelize your Mars. Make sure that you're not, wasting this combination, because this can result into a great combination as well. It's all in your hand as well. Okay, depends on the house that it goes in, depends on the other planets that are conjunct Mars, right? If moon is also here, then it's actually an excellent combination to have, great combination to have good property, great combination to achieve something in life wherein you are looked at as something big, like, people start respecting you, you rise up to fame. So a lot of other things that you have to, remember when you're seeing Jupiter transiting over Mars. All right, so moving on to the next planet. Now, two gurus coming together. Jupiter is transiting over your Venus, right? Venus is another guru, and Jupiter is, of course, our guru. So, what happens over here? So, first of all, Jupiter transiting over Venus would first of all show that your wife would either achieve something in life, or this can be a great combination for getting married. Okay, so because Venus majorly represents wife, yeah, we know that it represents both of your partners, yes, but this represents, especially in a man's chart, Venus is the karak of wife. Okay, something to do with your wife. Your wife could be achieving something, right? But your focus would shift towards marriage, right? Your focus to would definitely shift towards your wife. So it's getting, now again, as I said, these are only general predictions. You have to check what is exactly happening in your seventh house. What are, if let's say Rahu is getting over there, then it can be something else also. But I'm here only talking about Jupiter transiting over Venus, because I don't know what is happening in your chart. I just know that you have Venus placed in the sign of Gemini, and now Jupiter is transiting over your natal Venus. So what happens is, Jupiter would help your wife achieve something, and because of her, you might enjoy luxuries. Okay, so luxuries increase, especially during this period. Okay, whenever Jupiter and Venus come together, there is some or the other classical interest that you develop, and even some musical instrument that you would want to learn. Okay, so classical texts, classical books, anything that has to do with history, you would get very involved in it. But the lesson here with Jupiter transiting over Venus is to reflect on your relationships. So if let's say you had been, dealing with some kind of toxic friends, Venus not always represent, yes, it does represent romantic relationships, but Venus in general is the karak of relations that you have in your life, right? It can be a relation with your mother, it can be a relation with your friends, it can be a relation with any person around. So Jupiter wants you to reflect on those relations. If you had been tolerating something which is not for your best interest, Jupiter wants you to let go of that thing. So you'll see whenever Jupiter is transiting over your Venus, you would want to reflect on your relations. Okay, you would want to let go of any toxic thing that you were bearing all this while. But at the same time, Jupiter also has the potential to bless you with a marriage. Maybe you were looking for a spouse, maybe you wanted to get married, and now everything happened all of a sudden, and now you're getting married, right? Or if let's say this can also give you increase in material wealth, increase in your living standards. So if Jupiter transits now over your Venus, you could be living in a very, like, mundane regular house, and now suddenly something happened, maybe a promotion happened, raise happened, and now you're staying at a place wherein you're able to enjoy the luxuries of life, because Jupiter is expanding that quality of Venus. Venus is what? Venus is, it's not just your marriage, your relation. Venus is also liquid cash. It represents money, right? Lakshmi. So Jupiter is expanding that quality. Jupiter is expanding Aishwarya. Jupiter, is giving you that ability to enjoy luxury in life. Okay, but at the same time, take care of your, if let's say you're a female watching this video, take care of your lower body. And even for man watching, any man watching this video, take care of your anything that has to do with your reproductive organs and your kidneys. Okay, so you need to reflect on all of these things. Plus you would want to socialize more, you would want to meet people more. Your life would become very active, as in not as in you're working a lot, or you're putting a lot of efforts. No, your life would get active as an increase in socializing. You would want to go and talk to people, you would want people to come over to your house. So that happens. Your interest increases, especially when it comes to understanding different cultures, right? Your travel as well increases. Okay, this also happens with Mercury. If let's say you have Venus and Mercury and now Jupiter is transiting, yes, your travels would drastically increase. Short-term travels would drastically increase. All right. But here Jupiter over Venus does improve your career, especially if let's say you are engaged in a career wherein you have to look after a lot of people, or you have to engage with a lot of people. Okay, so if let's say you are a therapist, or maybe you are in a profession wherein you do something with beauty, you have a salon, right? You have maybe you have your own brand. So Venus now has the ability to expand this brand. Okay, Jupiter is giving its light to Venus that go on, go ahead, expand the business, right? So you can expect more clients, you can expect more returns coming to you. So overall it's a great time period. The only thing that Jupiter makes you focus on is your health, especially your, I told you already, for male and female, and your relationships. Reflect on your relationships. Jupiter would definitely encourage you to let go of any toxicity that you were bearing in the relationship. So if you had any relation that was you know really toxic, or if you had any kind of friendship, Jupiter exposes you to the realities as well. Okay, so Jupiter has the ability to make you understand that this is not good for you, so let it go, right? So Jupiter and Venus coming together does give clash in relationships initially, because Jupiter wants you to see the real picture. It does not want you to live under a delusion. Jupiter is like a lamp, okay, like a flashlight, like a torch. Like, look at it, see it clearly. That is what Jupiter wants you to do. Okay. Okay, so Jupiter is transiting over your natal Jupiter. This is a Jupiter return time for you. Very important time. This time period, it would definitely be marked by you getting a significant achievement, something to celebrate. Okay, now this celebration, of course, it will be different for everyone. Now, if let's say you're a student watching this video, this can be you completing your education. Okay, this can be you finally getting the results that you were waiting for. Or this can mean that if let's say you were confused which college to go for, or you were just constantly working for these competitive exams, now you get that breakthrough that this is the right choice for you, this is the right college for you. Okay, so this does celebrate a very important aspect in your life, especially to do with your higher education. Okay, so that can happen for students. If let's say you are a female watching this video and you are married already, this can show something to do with your husband. Your husband got a promotion, right? A significant position in society, a significant position in his career, a raise. So all of these things, people are congratulating him. So this is again a significant celebration that occurs. So some or the other celebration occurs whenever Jupiter is transiting over your natal Jupiter, right? And if let's say you are unmarried, this can also show marriage. Okay, because remember, this position is a very significant position, because now your Jupiter is transiting over Jupiter, so it's activating that Jupiter quality. Okay, and at the same time, you would happen to find the right gurus. If you were struggling to learn something, if you were struggling in anything that in general had to do with you struggling in any area of life, Jupiter activates your luck, because Jupiter is the planet of luck, right? Jupiter wants you to achieve things with ease, and Jupiter transiting over its natal Jupiter would help you achieve it with ease. So sudden luck happens. Okay, you finding yourself to be lucky is also something that you can make out with this Jupiter. Also remember that Jupiter, with regarding anything that has to do with your job situation, this can show a promotion as well. Okay, so it completely depends on what age group you are falling into. All right, but the main focus of Jupiter over here is to kill your delusion. Okay, you find the right path in life. It would be regarding your dharma, it can be regarding your inner purpose, your life purpose, your soul's purpose, but you get to kill the delusion. You understand things clearly, because that is the role of Jupiter, right? But it would definitely mark you with some or the other happiness being given to you. Okay, so some celebration point, some milestone being achieved, and something coming to an end also is signified by Jupiter transiting over your natal Jupiter. Okay, I've seen it so many times. It's either to, especially with a lot of the charts that I've seen, it's either to do with childbirth or education. These are the two main important elements that Jupiter is ruling, and also regarding husband or marriage, especially for females. All right. And again, if let's say this is happening in a particular house, in the fourth house or in the 10th house, definitely something to do with your family, something to do with your mother, your father, some important decision to be taken, right? Now let's first discuss Jupiter transiting over your Rahu, okay, your natal Rahu. So Jupiter and Rahu is actually a very interesting combination, because first of all it's called Guru Chandal Yoga, right? And Jupiter helps you achieve things that you want in life, right? And Rahu is what gives you that motivation. Rahu, what is Rahu actually? Rahu is actually things that you want to achieve, but you don't know how to go about it. You don't know the path to achieve it, right? That is Rahu. Okay, you don't know what lies inside Rahu. That means you have some wish that you want to achieve, but you don't know how can you exactly go and achieve it. You don't know what lies beyond that. Okay, so you have that interest wherein you want to explore that wish of yours, and Jupiter is like a light lamp. It's helping you now see the path, because Rahu is what you wish for, and Jupiter is now helping you see that path, that okay, this is the path that you need to follow, go achieve it. But now comes the problem. Jupiter transiting over your Rahu breaks the mirage that Rahu is making in front of you. So, because Rahu is, see, at the end of the day, Rahu is a mischievous energy, right? Rahu is a malevolent energy. We cannot compare, we can't say that Rahu, because it talks about, bhog or any of your desires or wishes. We cannot conclude that Rahu is a positive planet. Rahu, at the end of the day, is a mischievous planet, right? So there is a high chance that there is a mirage, okay? And Jupiter breaks that mirage whenever Jupiter is transiting over Rahu, okay? So if this is happening in, if let's say your fifth house, you had some hobby, some interest, some education thing that you want to pursue, okay, and now Jupiter is showing you that path, that okay, go ahead, I'm showing you the path. But the thing is, once you achieve it or once you get closer to it, you realize that what, this is not something that I expected, because now Jupiter is breaking that mirage, okay? So Rahu, because Rahu already held that mirage, Rahu was like, it kept on making you think that go ahead, you want to achieve this, you have to achieve this is your wish. But now Jupiter would give a reality check, okay? So this happens, so sudden changes in your desires is pretty much possible with Jupiter when it transits over your Rahu. All right, so there is this interesting dynamic going of expectation versus reality. Okay, you achieve something, but then now you realize that wait, it was all a delusion, it was not something that you expected it to be. But that is important. Why is it important? Because now Jupiter is letting you see clearly. Rahu is Maya, right? Rahu is what? Rahu is like you being blinded by your dreams, your desires. All right, so Jupiter shows you the reality, that it was all glitters, that was just shining on the outside. All that glitters are not gold. That is the basic learning you get when Jupiter transits over your Rahu. And this can be vice versa also. If let's say you did not like something, all right, you felt that this is not something for you, but now that Jupiter is transiting over your Rahu, it breaks that illusion, and you're like, wait, this is something that I've always wanted. How did I not think of this before? So this can also happen. Why? Because Jupiter is now letting you see things clearly, okay? So it encourages Rahu to like not just achieve your desires, but it encourages you to break from that Maya, to break away from that illusion that Rahu is creating in front of your eyes. So one thing that you need to be very careful about whenever Jupiter is transiting your Rahu, take care that you are not running behind something blindly, because Jupiter will help you achieve it. See, you are running something behind, okay, you want something in your life and you're just blinded by that thought, right? That is Rahu. You want to achieve it, and now Jupiter is transiting over it. That means Jupiter is helping you achieve it, but then you realize that it was very different from what you had thought. All right, so be very aware. Don't be greedy during this time, because Jupiter is going to help you achieve whatever you want, because Rahu is what? Rahu is that desire that you had, and Jupiter is that supporting planet that go achieve it. I'm showing you the path. So be very aware what you are falling into. Be very aware of scams during this time. Be very aware of trap. Okay, falling into a trap is very much likely, so be very aware of it. Don't follow things blindly. Don't go after people blindly. And even when it comes to, following someone's advice, if you were being, very infatuated by some or the other advice, some or the other person, if this is, let's say, happening in the seventh house, Jupiter shows you the reality that no, see, this is what the person is. All right, and as I said, this is not always a negative combination. This can definitely be a very positive combination. Maybe you saw someone at a place wherein you thought this person is, very professional, this person is, very stoic, but then Jupiter is now transiting over this Rahu, and now you see the real side of that person. That, oh, this person is so soft on the inside. I never thought this person is this soft on the inside. So, some or the other delusion being broken is what is represented by Jupiter transiting over your Rahu. All right. So, and again, also, yes, exploring things of different culture is also very much possible. Foreign travels are also very much possible with Jupiter transiting over your Rahu. When it comes to Ketu, now this is a very spiritual position happening for you, because Rahu is like, you want to go above and stand on the top of, like if let's say there are 100 people, you want to stand on top of them. That is Rahu. Ketu is like, no, I don't want to stand on top of these 100 people. I want to be in an isolated place. I want to think about myself, because I wouldn't care what other people think about me. So Jupiter transiting over Rahu, over Ketu, would actually make you isolated from your from anything that has to influence you from the outside. So if any person was trying to influence you from the outside, you would get detached from it. All right, so Jupiter helps you see clarity in isolation. That is what Jupiter over Ketu is. All right, if you were neglecting something about yourself that you could just not see, all right, you had some or the other idea about yourself, you knew that you had anger issues, but you were never working on it. Now Jupiter is like, okay, now work on yourself. Work on yourself in isolation. Don't do it for proving it to others. Do it because you have to rectify yourself. That is what Jupiter and Ketu is. So Jupiter and Ketu also makes a person very criticizing. Like they would want to they would be this critique. They criticize themselves too much, especially if let's say this is happening in the first house. All right, so Jupiter wants you to focus on yourself in isolation. So this is a great time period for um, doing meditation, yogas, getting in touch with reality of yourself by not mingling with others, is what Jupiter and Ketu um, together shows. And this can also show that if let's say you had some wish, um, this had to do with any pilgrims or any yatra or any sadhana that you had to do, now it gets fulfilled. So it is definitely something that you had been neglecting. You had been neglecting something, so now Jupiter is blessing that neglected part. Okay, because remember, wherever Ketu is sitting, you tend to neglect those parts because you've already done that, so you don't really have a lot of affection, or you don't have a lot of um, interest in that field, because Ketu is something that you've already achieved in your previous lifetime. But then this Jupiter comes, and now Jupiter is like, wait, you can't just neglect it, focus on it as well. So Jupiter would bless the things that you have been neglecting. All right, and yes, Jupiter also, with whenever it's going over Ketu, it would not want you to like mingle with a lot of people, or even if you want to mingle with people, you would after a point of time you would come back to yourself. Like you would just want to be in a place wherein it's you and just you, that's it. You just don't want to be disturbed by other people. All right, so working on yourself in silence is something that explains Jupiter over Ketu. All right, so yes, this is all about Jupiter transiting over your natal planets, and I would be making a separate video on Jupiter transiting in the sign of Gemini for each and every ascendant. All right, I'll try to post that video probably like a week or 2 weeks later. All right, thank you for watching.